Greetings. My name is Andy Warhol. Some people say I was the greatest artist who ever lived. I couldn't possibly comment, except to say they were right. Between November 1961 and April 1962, I painted 32 Campbell soup cans, each on a separate canvas. I used a screen printing method. I painted them because I like soup. Obviously. Later in my career, I developed a taste for Coca-Cola. Unlike other artists who tried to capture the variety of nature, I tried to paint the sameness of commercialization. My art studio was called The Factory.
Thank you for that introduction, Andy. It's Mrs. Kester here. Our task today is to draw a cylindrical object influenced by the work of Andy Warhol. So you might choose to draw a can of Coke or a can of deodorant, a tin of food. The choice is yours, but it must be a cylindrical object. This is nearly 2 hours worth of work. I've sped it up into just over 3 minutes because watching somebody do art can be incredibly boring. You'll have heard the phrase, watching paint dry, and actually that's what art can be. It's very relaxing to do for yourself, but incredibly boring to watch somebody else do it. Things that you do need to watch for are the oval at the top of the shape and the smiley curve at the bottom. The bottom curve should always be more smiley than the curve at the top. I began by sketching out the shape, then I've used a fine liner pen, and now I'm starting to add some colour with coloured pencils. It's up to you how you present this piece of work. You don't need to use coloured pencils. You can leave it as a drawing, you can do a shaded drawing, but I felt I should add colour to keep it in the style of Andy Warhol. So to clarify, to create a piece of work in the style of Andy Warhol, you need to select a cylinder. You need to make sure that when you draw that cylinder, you get the curves at the top and the bottom of the shape to make sure it looks rounded. Usually your teacher will tell you not to use hard outlines around a drawing, but in this case, because we're copying Andy Warhol's style, you can. To create the graphic style that Warhol uses in his work, you need to make sure that you use flat colour, copying the style of the packaging as exactly as you can, looking at the shapes of the letters. The lettering is not your handwriting. There are specific shapes you need to copy in different styles. In the same way that any artist tackles a new object, when they see lettering, they forget that they know the letter shape and copy the shape that they see in front of them as accurately and carefully as they can. We look forward to seeing your work. Please email your work to the teacher who presents the live lesson to you each week. If you're struggling to find a cylindrical object of your own, you can use this image just by pausing and copy the image on the screen. Mind, you're in for a challenge. This was not a straightforward object.